What's up, everybody? Before I start with this review, I do want to say that it's not in the style that I wanted to do the review. I had some plans, but unfortunately I did not have the time to finalize those plans and get everything the way I wanted to go. And I just want to get this review out to you guys just so I can move on to the next thing. So, Final Fantasy 16, where can I start? The combat in this game, mixed with the semi-open world locations that you get to explore, is kind of like the ultimate love child between Devil May Cry and Star Wars Jedi Survivor if it was raised by Game of Thrones, and it is a mostly good mix, but there are some minor issues that I personally had. Now, just like Game of Thrones for me, the story in Final Fantasy 16 can be a bit complicated to follow sometimes. And it's not your typical Final Fantasy. It is a much more mature Final Fantasy game. A lot of blood, bad language, some adult themes, some partial nudity. And I don't want to give too much away, but I want to talk about the story briefly. Keep in mind that I only put about 40 hours into the game so far, and yet I still haven't completed the game. But in the story, you basically play as Clive Rossfield, who is the son of a king, who is in search of a dominant who is responsible for the death of his younger brother Joshua, who was the heir to the throne. Now, a dominant, if you don't know, is someone with the ability to unleash the summon from the Final Fantasy franchise and become that summoned creature. With the game story, it does kind of jump ahead throughout periods of time in Clive's life. So you are going to be, experiencing this journey for quite a bit. It's kind of a long game. And one of the elements in this game story that is very much front and center is the story that the individuals of this world with abilities known as the branded, who also have a tattoo on their face to notify whether or not they're branded. It's basically the Final Fantasy version of a slave. They are purchased by people. They have to work at people's homes and do the chores and raise the kids, take care of the kids. That's basically the theme here. And one of the main story points is Clive and his team trying to build a better world where these branded could be free to live the life they want to live.
They await you in Odil, guardians of the flame.
Now, one issue I had with the game in terms of the story is when they introduce new characters, it kind of gives you the vibe that you should know these characters and have some type of connection with them, but I basically don't. They just come out of the blue and you just expect it to just go with the flow and act like you know who these characters are. There are going to be some huge surprises in the story, but I'll leave it to you to discover them. And in terms of adventure, you are going to explore different locations. And within these locations, at least through the story, you are going to eventually take on a major boss and destroy one of many mother crystals. And these crystals are basically giant crystals attached to different kingdoms. And it basically is responsible for some bad things. I can't give away too much more because I don't want to spoil anything. But also the story is a little bit complicated to understand. Now, exploration is similar to Jedi Survivor. You select the location you want to explore, and there are some towns that you can visit, but it's nothing too exciting to see. And it's unfortunate because some of the environments here can be breathtaking. And one thing that is interesting about exploration is you will find various side missions that you can do, and some of them can have a very interesting story behind it. One of which, for example, was a owner trying to purchase a branded who can save his son from a wolf trying to eat him. And then you come to find out the father and son actually planned for the wolf to eat the branded instead. And there is some good karma for you that comes back and basically bites the father and son in the ass. But you can play the game yourself and go to that side mission and figure that out yourself.
Nor am I. You'll pay for what you've done.
There is also another side mission that does allow you to gain a special ability that you may want to lock down when you can find that mission. I won't spoil what it is, but it is going to be very helpful for traversal. Now, unfortunately, with the exploration, while there is some treasure hidden throughout the world, nothing too exciting where you feel obligated to actually go and explore. You don't really feel the motivation to go explore these locations, and that's kind of unfortunate. Now, combat is one of the main points of this game, and it's clearly that the inspiration came from Devil May Cry, especially considering the creator of the Devil May Cry's combat did do the combat for this game. Now, this is where things get interesting. Throughout the game, you will learn various abilities from different icons, which are basically the giant summons that an individual may have as a dominant, and these summons will give you various abilities and special moves. But I was very disappointed to find out that you can only equip 3 icons at a time, and each icon will only give you 2 special attacks and 1 secondary ability. So despite the red and black outfit of Clive similar to Dante, if you were hoping to have access to all of your abilities like Dante and do insane combos, this ain't it, Chief. So you might be upset to see this as a limit. You know, some players might think of it as a challenge, choosing the best fit for you, the best 3 icons you can equip for battle. Others might feel that you should be able to equip all of your icon abilities and use them in combat because you can switch between your 3 icons during battle with the press of a button. Now, one thing that's also different here is you're not going to be graded on your combos like Devil May Cry. So some, like me, might find it a bit of a relief. You're not really pressured to make those cool combos, but some might think of it as a bummer because you're not really encouraged to make cool combos. And you can do some cool combos in the game and you can be very creative with your abilities, but nothing as creative as Dante riding a motorcycle in combat. You also do have a spell attack that is unlimited, and just like Dante's guns, it doesn't do a lot of damage, but you do have the infinite use of it. I don't know what the true purpose of these spell attacks are, because they don't really do much damage anyway. I guess it's just to hit an enemy while you're, ready to approach them for another combo. In terms of blocking, there is no block button, but you are able to parry an opponent's attack if you time your strike perfectly, and it does a really cool slowdown for you to do more combos while that enemy is in slowdown from the parry. Now, speaking of icons, there are some massive battles between your main icon and an enemy icon, and these battles can be visually amazing and really fun to play, but these battles don't happen as often from what I played so far, so I guess it's a mix of having something really cool to do, but we don't want to overuse it, and it only is going to happen during certain major points in the story. But it is pretty much a massive game changer, and there are also some bounties you can take part in and find stronger creatures so you can earn more currency. And there is such a minimum amount of crafting in this game that you don't feel overwhelmed to find all the recipes and all the different materials. You're gonna craft most of your things, each time you come back to the hideout anyway. And your crafting is limited to a new sword and a new belt or a new charm, just to give you some new stat increases and a higher strength. Now, one thing I had the most problem with in the game is that it can be very, very repetitive, and eventually you may get bored after about 20 hours. This game is also lacking a really good photo mode. It's one of the most basic photo modes I've ever seen. Not very packed with content for the photo mode. If you know anything about me, I'm a huge photo mode guy, and this doesn't have a good photo mode at all. There aren't really any options to help you get that perfect shot. It's just here's photo mode, take a picture, and that's that. And while the game does have some really amazing looking locations and some really amazing cutscenes, sometimes the game can look a bit last gen, and especially during non-cutscene conversations with other characters. Just the way their mouth moves to the text is just not, up there with the performance and the graphics that we were expecting. Now, overall, this will be a very long journey, and it is very focused on story. But a big issue that you may have with the game is it's not the hardest game I've played. The only time I died was attempting a bounty where I didn't realize the enemy had a one-hit kill attack. And after realizing that, I went back and destroyed him. I only died that one time, and then a different time where I died not having my potions. But aside from that, I have about 40 hours in, and I haven't died from anything else other than the one-hit kill bounty and the other stronger bounty. So you are going to kind of breeze through the game in terms of the combat. It's not challenging by any means. It's not a Souls game, and it's not even as hard as Devil May Cry games. So if you want a bit more of a challenge, this may not be the game for you. But if you just want a great story, if you love Game of Thrones and Devil May Cry, and you just want to explore a new world with a new Final Fantasy character and engage in those icon battles, then this game is definitely worth your time to experience the game and see what it does have to offer. Do I recommend buying it at full price? If you're okay with the repetitive of the game and you can get through the repeats of combat and the long cutscenes, because the cutscenes are pretty long, then yes, it is worth your purchase. I've been enjoying the game, but I have gotten a bit bored because of the repetitiveness, and I've been playing for about 40 hours. So I am trying to push myself to get to the end, but you may be able to do it, or you may get bored like I did. But it is worth your time. Check it out. And if you are unsure still, play the demo. There's a 2-hour demo on PlayStation Store that you can try, and it was an awesome demo. So that's my review for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I can't wait for you guys to see what I have coming out next. And I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.